Welcome Gundam Modelers. My name is Strider Prime. This is my first audio video that I will be presenting today. I hope you guys enjoy it. Today's subject is basically the tools and the equipment that I use to build Gundam models. I'm also a hobbyist and I build other types of models like tanks and ships and planes. I may decide to do a video of that in the near future, but for now I'm only going to concentrate on the Gundam models at hand, since they're the most easiest to build, yet sometimes the most complicated to make, depending on filing and sanding and preparing it. I hope everybody enjoyed my videos of 2008, and I hope that 2009 will be a lot better. So what tools do I use? Basically, everybody have seen me use the basic tool, which happens to be these clippers. Excellent for removing part off its tray. Also removing whatever excess plastic that's on the parts. This is one of the most useful tools out there. It's a little expensive. Sometimes you find one for $10. There are better ones out there for about $20, depending on who's on a budget these days. Before I bought this, I used to use good old hobby knife or sculpting knife, however they call it. I have two of these. I have this one that can also, you can remove the blades and replace it with replacements once they get dull and worn out. I also have this one. Same function, different blade for other purposes. Kind of have this little rubber triangular stopper. Perfect for if I drop it, it will not fall off and stab my toe. Thank God that didn't happen to me. Another tool, of course, that's good for modelers these days is, a pincer. Or pliers, actually. Tweezers, excuse me. I'm saying pincers. Tweezers. This one has a clamp, excellent for holding parts if I want to paint and design. Point's not good on this one, so I purchased a better one. This is a lot better and stronger, and it's easier for me to pick up and let go on the fly if I need to. Now, another tool that I use, which is the most common tool of all, is glue. Glue's a necessity. Sometimes there are parts that, even though Gundam models like the 144th, 1/100th, and 1/60th scale are now snap fit, there are times where you have to use the glue for special purposes. Sometimes the parts don't snap correctly in its position, and the glue can be easily used to apply it, get it nice and hardened, so that way it will not separate if it reflects the joints. I'll explain that in future videos. Another tool that I use to remove excess parts and plastic off pieces, of course, is the old sandpaper. This one's a 400 grade, P400, from the Tamiya's Finishing Abrasive series. I'm planning to get the 6 and 800 and maybe even the 1000 version. Another one, another good clean sanding tool is this 3M model, the Sand Blaster. It's basically a sponge. It's easy to manipulate, and not everybody can get a hand of these. Sometimes these work and they cost about $2-3. So is this, but if you can't get one of these, this one works quite well. Now for painting, the tool that I like to use, of course, would be this to separate the paints. I have quite a few of these. Of course, nothing beats a stir, and this Tamiya stir that I picked up at a store is a godsend. I saw a video of someone using this, and Anybody could use any type of stir, but you know, I found it and it only cost me a few dollars. Can't wait to use that again. Of course, there are the various brushes, from very, very thin to semi-thin to a nice broad stroke. That's useful for specific parts that needs to be painted. Then, of course, if there are parts that I don't want to paint over, Mr. Masking Soul Neo is perfect. It's a little gunk thing that goes on specific parts that you don't want to paint over. The one thing I like to use with the Gundam models would be this. The Gundam marker for panel lines. They're pretty much, just as Gundam markers. There's a lot of Gundam markers out there in the market. I like this one because it's the 0.04 width. Perfect for the panel lines. This one is a good marker. I also picked up this, the Gundam pencil marker. This one's 0.3 millimeters. Unlike this one, that's 0.04 millimeters. This is a little bit thicker, and I've used this on the model. It is not as dark. It doesn't go into the panel lines pretty well, and this lead is very, very weak. Pretty much, this is pretty much this pretty much is a pencil. It's basically a pencil, just, you know, just Gundam on it. I found a use for it, and I will show it in later videos in the future. And of course, Tamiya's masking tapes. These are perfect for holding pieces together, and of course, if you want to paint them and cover up the parts. Very useful, cheap. I actually have the tray right here. So, finally, in this video, I want to show you this. That it's probably out there. These are Gundam markers. This one's for the Exia. There are other markers specifically for other models out there from other series on the Gundams. And I'm gonna say these are pieces of shit. And this is my opinion, for the fact that basically it's just it's not a marker. It's paint inside a capsule. You can pour the paint here, and then using brushes you can apply it. But this is by no means something that you can actually mark. It's a touch-up, basically. You touch up. That's what basically the whole purpose of this is, a touch-up marker. So if you have a plastic part that has been cut and scratched to the point where sanding or buffing doesn't clean it out, this masks it. This is okay, but it's probably best that you use regular paint like Tamiya's or Gonzo Sago, or these testers. Even these testers are okay. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more videos to come in the coming months.